Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Bold and beautiful exclusive. Not opposed to making some waves, Deacon may be about to dish out a reminder that happiness comes at another person's expense. Aside from all the aiding and abetting of bold and beautiful psycho Sheila Carter, Deacon Sharp has walked a pretty straight and narrow path since getting out of prison. But that doesn't mean that conniving isn't still a part of his DNA. So if the character realized just how great daughter Hope Logan's desire for stepbrother-in-law Finn Finnegan is. At the end of the day, Deacon wants Hope to be happy, and sometimes that comes at another person's expense. Scene Kanan tells Soaps.com. In this case, we're talking about Steffi. Were Finn not married to Hope's antagonist, the two of them would probably have been tearing up the sheets by now. And if they coupled up, it would certainly make Deacon's life easier, Kanan notes. Hope seems willing to give Sheila a chance, unlike Steffi, who has made her position clear, and with good reason. As seen, I get it. I mean, Sheila shot Steffi and her husband, he adds, leaving out all of the other people the new Mrs. Sharp has attempted to murder over the years. But Deacon has made big mistakes in the past, and he's been given this new life which includes Hope, so he knows the value of that. The ex-con also wouldn't mind seeing his daughter with a man whose business card reads Dr./nice guy. Sure, Steffi's better half may not be the sharpest scalpel in the hospital, but at least he's never canoodled with a mannequin. Deacon likes Finn and respects him, Kanan says. He's a good man. If to secure such a good man for Hope, Deacon has to do some bad things, so be it. Not only on Bold and Beautiful but Young and Restless, too. He's been an agent of chaos in the past, Kanan reminds, and he's not opposed to making some waves if, in the end, it makes Hope happy. As the sun set over the bustling streets of Los Angeles, the city's elite were just beginning their evening routines. For some, it meant slipping into designer gowns and tuxedos for charity galas. For others, it meant plotting the next big scandal that would shake up the world of the rich and powerful. Among them was Deacon Sharp, a man who had always been a wild card in the high-stakes game of love, power, and revenge that played out daily in the world of the bold and the beautiful. Deacon stood on the balcony of his luxurious penthouse, a glass of whiskey in hand, as he surveyed the glittering skyline. The cool evening breeze ruffled his hair, but his mind was far from the serene view. He was lost in thought, contemplating his next move in the intricate dance of alliances and betrayals that defined his life. Over the past few months, Deacon had been relatively quiet, watching from the sidelines as the Forrester and Spencer families navigated their tumultuous lives. He had watched as Brooke Logan and Ridge Forrester found their way back to each other, their love stories seemingly unbreakable. He had seen Hope Logan, his daughter, build a life of happiness with Liam Spencer, despite the numerous obstacles that had come their way, but Deacon knew all too well that in their world, happiness often came at a cost, and he was not opposed to making some waves to remind everyone of that harsh reality. It wasn't that Deacon took pleasure in other people's misery, it was simply that he understood the nature of their world better than most. Happiness was a fragile thing, always teetering on the edge of collapse, and it often came at another person's expense. Deacon had learned this lesson the hard way, and now he was ready to teach it to those who had grown too comfortable. He took a sip of his whiskey, savoring the burn as it slid down his throat, and made his decision. It was time to remind the Forresters and the Spencers that their happiness was not guaranteed, that it could be snatched away in an instant. He had a plan, one that would not only shake up their lives but also put him back in the center of the action where he thrived. Deacon began his preparations with meticulous care. He knew that his plan had to be executed perfectly, without any room for error. He started by reaching out to an old acquaintance, a private investigator, who owed him a favor. Deacon needed information, and he needed it fast. The investigator quickly got to work, digging up dirt on the Forresters and the Spencers, looking for any weaknesses or secrets that could be exploited. It didn't take long for Deacon to receive the first piece of information that could be useful. There were whispers of a scandal involving Thomas Forrester, something that had been carefully buried but not forgotten. Deacon smirked as he read the report. This was exactly the kind of leverage he needed. Thomas had always been a loose cannon, and if Deacon could bring his past misdeeds to light, it would create a ripple effect that could destabilize the entire Forrester clan. With the information in hand, Deacon made his next move. He arranged a discreet meeting with a tabloid journalist known for his ruthless pursuit of juicy stories. Deacon knew that once the story about Thomas broke, it would spread like wildfire, causing chaos and confusion among the Forresters. The journalist eagerly accepted the tip, promising Deacon that the story would be front-page news by the end of the week. As Deacon anticipated the fallout, he turned his attention to the Spencers. He had something special planned for them, something that would hit closer to home. Deacon had always had a complicated relationship with Bill Spencer, a man whom had caused him no small amount of trouble over the years. It was time to settle the score. Deacon reached out to Katie Logan, Bill's ex-wife and the mother of his child. Katie had always been the more vulnerable member of the Logan family, and Deacon knew that she still harbored feelings for Bill, despite everything he had put her through. He invited her to dinner, knowing that she would be curious about his sudden interest in reconnecting. Over dinner, Deacon carefully planted seeds of doubt and suspicion in Katie's mind. He hinted at Bill's infidelities, at his ruthless business practices, at the possibility that Bill was hiding something from her and their son. Katie, already fragile from her recent struggles, began to question everything she thought she knew about Bill. As the days passed, Deacon watched with satisfaction as his plan began to unfold. The story about Thomas Forrester's past hit the tabloids, causing an uproar in the Forrester family. Ridge and Brooke were thrown into turmoil, their trust in their son shattered. Meanwhile, Katie confronted Bill, demanding answers to the questions Deacon had planted in her mind. The Spencer family was thrown into chaos. With Bill scrambling to defend himself against accusations that he couldn't fully refute. Deacon knew that he had achieved his goal. He had reminded the Forresters and the Spencers that their happiness was built on a fragile foundation, one that could crumble at any moment, but he also knew that his actions would have consequences. He had made powerful enemies and he would need to be prepared for their retaliation. As he stood on his balcony once more watching the city lights twinkle in the distance, Deacon felt a sense of satisfaction. He had shaken up the status quo, reminded everyone that in their world, happiness was fleeting, always balanced on the edge of a knife, and he was ready for whatever came next, knowing that in the game of love and power, there were always new moves to be made.